we all know that setting goals can help us accomplish more and achieve our biggest dreams. But how many of us have set goals for retirement? How many of us have thought through, how much money do I need for retirement and how am I going to get there? That's what today's video is about. So let's go for a walk. And I'm going to start off with the what. You know, how do you calculate how much you need to save for retirement? And then we're going to talk about the how. How do we start doing that? So for the what, let's start with the end in mind, which is what the number is. So how do you get to the number? And, you know, it's a complicated discussion, but I'm going to keep it high level for today. So how do you calculate how much that you need for retirement? And really just think through, how much money do you want to be able to spend in retirement? And, you know, you can do you can do a bottom-up approach and really, you know, itemize each and everything. Or you can look at what your spending has been over the last couple years and ask yourself, does this feel sacrificial? Do I wish that I could spend more money in retirement? Or, you know, if I could spend about what I've been spending recently, that would feel comfortable. So start with that and then think through, you know, in retirement, are there some things that you're not going to need? And subtract those things out. So let's say you end up with, you want to be able to spend $75,000 a year. Well, you have to remember, you got to pay taxes on that as well. If you want to spend $75,000 a year, you've got to pay taxes on it. So just high level, you know, that gets complicated too, depending on where that $75,000 is coming from and the taxable nature of it. Is it from a pension? Is it from your bank account in a taxable account? Is it from a Roth IRA? So, you know, again, it gets complicated, but for this video, let's just stay high level. Let's assume if you want to spend $75,000 a year, you're gonna get taxed on. You're gonna have to make $100,000. $25,000 is going to go to tax, and then you'll have $75,000. And you can look at those income streams and guesstimate how much you're going to need. But this will get us in the ballpark. So let's say you need $75,000, and then how do you get from that to how much money you need to actually save in retirement? And unfortunately, I've given myself a difficult number, but basically you've heard of the rule of 4%, which says in retirement you can spend 4% of the money that you've earned. So we've got this $75,000, but we have to think about how much of this has to come from our savings. If we have money in, let's say, a rental property, and a rental property, let's say, is bringing in $25,000 a year for us, well, then from our savings, we really need $50,000 a year. And let's say that we've got a small pension coming in that's going to be $10,000 a year. Okay, now from our savings, we need $40,000 a year. And so how much do we need to have saved in order to spend $40,000 a year? Well, again, there's this rule of 4%. So if you had $1 million, you would get $40,000 a year off of it. If you want to find out more about the rule of 4%, I've got a video up here that you can take a look at and learn more about that. But if you had $1 million, you could plan on in perpetuity for your lifetime of withdrawing about 4%. There's no guarantees, but that's in the ballpark of what you could plan on. So that's how you get a feel for how much money that you need. Let's say you want to spend less. You only need $20,000. Well, you can do the math, right? If you want to get $20,000 from your investment accounts, you only need $500,000 from it. So it's the rule of 4%, or I think it's actually easier to just take the cash flows that you want, $20,000, and multiply it by 25. It's getting to the same place. I just think it's a little bit easier to do that, right? 1/4% is 25 is how it works. So if you want $20,000, how much money do you need? You just multiply that by 25 and it's $500,000. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the what. It's a heck of a lot more complicated than this. And I do think, and we're going to get to the how here in a second, but I do think it's complicated enough that it makes sense to work with a professional. Once you get the ballpark numbers in, as you get closer to retirement, you don't want to think that your numbers are right. You want to know that your numbers are right. Now there's no guarantees, right? It depends on what the stock market does, but you want sleep at night factor when it comes time to retire. So have somebody double check your numbers. Have a professional double check your number. Either an accountant or a fee-only financial advisor. You can find one by Googling that term, fee-only financial advisor. And I should mention, this is not financial advice. My goal here is to give you education so you can look things up for yourself and begin the process of learning about this for yourself. Okay, so that's the what. But now how do we get to the how, right? If it was easy to save money, we'd all be saving money, and the statistics for Americans would look quite a bit better than, unfortunately, that it does. So let's talk about the how. But first, I want to encourage you, if this video is helpful, if you're enjoying it, take a second, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet and you enjoy my channel, think about subscribing. And so we're going to jump into the how, and I want to share with you that the last one, I think, is the one that can really move the needle the most. So be sure to stay a couple extra minutes to the end here. Okay, so my philosophy, and this is controversial, a lot of financial advisors would disagree with me, but I don't worry about the nickels and dimes. If you enjoy going to Starbucks, if that's how you connect with your friends on a Saturday, you catch up with your friends over a coffee and you find out what's going on in their life, or that's how you connect with your spouse. In my opinion, God bless. That's an affordable luxury. Do it. Really look at the big things. And the big things are, first off, just shop for what you need. When my friends say, oh, we're going to hang out at the shopping mall, and I don't have many friends that do that, but I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and that was a pretty popular thing to do on the weekends. That can be a pretty expensive hobby. So I encourage you to go shopping, buy what you need, and then leave. Don't just linger around and say, oh, let's see what I find. Okay, so that's one. And related to that then is pay off your credit card every month. Right? That can be really expensive debt for you. We all know this, 24%, plus penalties, plus. It adds up very quickly. So buy what you need, not, what you've been sold because you're hanging out at the shopping mall or window shopping. Pay off those credit cards. If you find yourself not paying off your credit card 1 month, really try not to use it for a couple months until you can pay it off again. So this is one that I get some flack on. I think one of the least sacrificial ways for people to save more money is to buy a used car instead of a new car. The average American family spends almost $1,000 a month for transportation. Now, this is your car payment, insurance, gasoline, stuff like that. But the average car payment is quite high. 1/6 of all people that buy a new car have $1,000 a month car payment alone. And obviously new cars are getting more expensive after the pandemic because of supply issues. So I think a lot of people could be just as happy driving a 3, 4, 5-year-old used car as opposed to buying a new car. So that's a big ticket item. It can make a big difference, right? Again, the average household spends $900 a month in transportation. If you can cut that down to $500, if you can save $400 a month, that's almost $5,000. And the average American worker makes $50,000 a year. If you can cut out $400 a month, that's almost $5,000. That increases your savings rate by an additional 10 percentage points. And if you toss some of that into your company's 401k, at least up to the employer match, that can make a big difference very quickly. So that's an important how. And then the second thing I want to encourage you on, the how do you start saving money? How do you get this money? And I think this can be quite powerful. And that is to look for, well, before I go there, let me give my pitch for, if you're enjoying this video, give me a thumbs up, think about subscribing and comment. But But the number one way, I think, to hit that number, you know, you can either play defense or offense. And defense is saving more money. But can you make more money? Is there a side hustle that you can do? Is there a side business, something that you enjoy doing that you could turn into a business and make some additional money? Are there additional skills that you could invest a little bit of money in yourself to pick up these additional skills and make more money? So those are some really powerful hows. And if you enjoy thinking about retirement and how you're going to get there, I know that you're going to enjoy this video over here where I talk about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.